Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I am back with some more Esoterica. Today we are diving back into the tarot. I believe that what I have seen is a path to ascension, right? It is laid out so that you can follow it. It is keys so that you can find the higher path. Yesterday we went through the beginnings of this, the first two suits, and we learned about the mastery of the world, which is finding your employment and being master of it, being gainfully employed to the point where you can give to other people, you can ensure that your employees are well taken care of and that you are managing things correctly. We also saw the path to the mastery of self, which was the second suit, the swords. And that gives us the path to self mastery, understanding that you have unbridled wrath within yourself, that you have many vices that you need to balance. And so we saw the path where you can mentally balance yourself. The next step is going to be divine. We are going to be looking at how to master the divine. This one's a little bit different because you can have mastery over your employment. You can have mastery over yourself, but you can't really have mastery over the divine until it is the end. And we will describe what that means as we go along. But for now, let's dive into the tarot and let's talk about the things that are contained within the tarot, because we've come now to the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is the realization that there is a divine path. It is the realization that God made everyone, that all things are one, and that we are to serve God in the best capacity that we can. It is taking control of the mastery of the things that we have already passed through. It is entirely possible that you can stumble across the second path in the middle of the first one. It is entirely possible that you stumble across the first path in the middle of the second one, but it is highly unlikely that you will even begin the third path until you have completed at least one of the other two. Either you are in the mastery of your employment or you are in the mastery of yourself before you even start contemplating the divine in the correct way. But we are now, once again, the fool. We are unknowing, uninitiated. We are at the origin. We are becoming aware, and we are the seeker. We are seeking this time the spiritual path. This is the beginning of the higher path. Which leads us to the Two of Cups. Now, the Two of Cups is union, it is affinity, and it is choice. You are choosing to go the path, right? You are taking the path of higher enlightenment. And what we have symbolized here is the union of the masculine and the feminine through the path of ascension for the last four steps of the ascension process. We have already conquered the first three, right? We have taken care of the base, the sacral, and the solar plexus. And now we are residing in the heart because that is where divinity lives. And since we are in the heart, we are on the upper progression. Parts of the upper progression are contained within the first two paths, but you're not really on the path of upward progression until you are aware that there is a path of upward progression, which is almost certainly going to be after the first two paths. This is making the deliberate choice to follow in God's will, to seek the abundance that is coming from Him. Which leads us into the third card, right? This is the Three of Cups. And a lot of people see this as fertility. A lot of people see this as temptation. But what this is abundance. This is gratitude, and this is the expression of it. This is being vocal about it. That is one of the first steps towards mastering the divine path, is being grateful for the things that you have, the things that have come into completion. It is learning to focus on the things that you want in your life in a positive manner and not to focus on the things that you don't want in your life in a negative manner. If you are more intent on focusing on the gratitude that comes from actually receiving the things that you want, then you are more likely to express the gratitude out loud, and you are more likely to receive the abundance that comes from living a grateful lifestyle. And that is going to lead us into card 4. Now, card 4 is the physical manifestation of things. It is learning about meditation and manifestation and creation. Step 4 is always going to be understanding these things. So it is not merely that these things exist, but it is having control of them, taking intentionality and pulling into existence the things that you want. There is a good chance that at this point you will still do not have all of the laws in place, and that is absolutely going to lead to repercussions and unintended consequences. Manifestation has laws. There are things that you absolutely do have to pay attention to, or you will reap negative consequences. And this card is expressing that to us. This is change. 5 is always change. And you have manifested things into your life, but they have had some unintended consequences. You see the 3 empty cups laying scattered in front of him and 2 behind him that he's not even really paying attention to. He is focused on the things that he lost because he has indeed manifested in the wrong way. This is the card that reminds you that you need to change yourself, that you need to seek within yourself to become the thing that you are meant to be, and that only comes through course correction. This is aligned intention and celebration. Once you have overcome the difficulties that come from manifestation, because there are difficulties that will arise in your life whenever you start doing manifestation, especially if you are not aligned with the 8 laws of creation. This is the point of understanding that, right? We see the focus here is inside of a courtyard, right? A homestead type of a situation. And you have 2 youths, one of whom is apparently smelling the flower and about to give it to the other one. You see perfectly lined up flowers to the side. This is the correct intentions, right? You are manifesting to give away the thing which you manifested. This is a course correction to remind you to keep God primary in all of your things, and that selfishness will absolutely come to bite you in the butt. So correct yourself so that you can celebrate. That is the wrong card. And which leads us into card 7, which is visualization, realization, and material manifestation. This is the temptations of the world. These cards show riches and wealth. It shows accolades. It shows pride. It shows wrath. It shows the 7 sins and the 7 virtues, in a way, as the balancing. And at this point, you are aware that the balancing is needed. You are at the point where you can manifest pretty much anything into your life. Houses, wealth, the accolades, the pride that comes along with those things. You can, indeed, manifest those things into your life. This is a completion point, so that means that you are about to learn the new lessons, but you are able to manifest physically the things that you are desiring in this life. There can be absolutely some unintended consequences to that, so you should be quite careful at this point. Which leads us into the next section. Now, once again, we are aligning with the greater arcana, right? The story is told through the lesser arcana, and the greater arcana is amplification points, right? This is to point out in somewhat greater detail what to do. It is not necessarily full detail. Let's go ahead and pop that over. It's not necessarily full detail, but it is telling you the things that are going to pop up in your life, the things that you are going to have to pay attention to if you are wanting to get this done. You have to pay attention to the greater meaning. You have to abandon the world and you will feel the emptiness, right? This is true temptation. This is the earthly powers. This is earth, spirit, and divine. This is where the path truly begins. You have up to this point been aware that God is a thing. You have up to this point been aware that you can align yourself with God and physically manifest the things in your life that you want to. You have reached the point where physical manifestation of riches and abundance is a thing. And now you realize exactly what the dangers there are in. You realize that there is a point where you need to reflect. You need to withdraw from the world. You need to understand your true motivations in the things that you are doing. These true temptations are very real. You can bring into your life things that will hurt you, and you will understand that when you get into manifestation. Sometimes, if you are not correctly aligned, the temptation is to pull in money from anywhere, or the job that you want, or the person that you want. But the things that you do energetically are reflected back upon you, times three even, at a minimum. And so you need to pay special attention to the temptations that are attached to the vices. Greed, lust, envy, wrath. All of these things are amplified in the manifestation process. Your true intentions will be revealed by the results that you get. This card is a reminder that there is greater meaning, that you must abandon the world if you are to be truly aligned with God's path, and it will absolutely cause you to be alone. But you will be aligned with divine purpose. Wait, is that right? No, give me 1 second. You will be receiving divine provision. This is patience. This is contentment. This is broken aspiration on the tower card. This is falsehoods revealed and unbalanced consequences. This is taking the time to make sure that you are properly aligned. It is turning your back to the worldly benefits. It is manifesting some of the worldly benefits, but it is waiting for the patience that God is going to provide the things that you need when you need them, and that you do not have to necessarily sacrifice yourself. But there is a very clear choice. The tower represents intelligence. It represents your way of thinking, and the broken tower is turning away from the traditional conventions that the world has given you. It is turning away from the lack that has been promoted in the world and realizing that divine provision is abundance, that divine provision is more than enough for the things that you need, and that if you are patient and you merely ask with the proper intentions, the things will appear without you needing to take direct intervention. The tower symbolizes the change in your thoughts, and the 9 card is going to show us that patience is the key. And that's going to bring us to 10. Because you have learned that patience is the key, you get to go on to the learning stage of the experience. And here's where you really start to learn what exactly your divine purpose is going to be. What are you here for? What are you created for? What can you affect inside of this world? This is family alignment. This is stewardship. You are meant to have a family. You are meant to be fruitful and multiply, to be stewards of the earth and subdue it, to shed no blood of man, and to go forth in divine will. The star card is this gifts of spirit which come to you when you learn these lessons. As you are learning your divine purpose, you are given the waters of life freely. And therefore, you have the ability to affect change in the world around you through non-direct means. You have been given stewardship of the world. And because you have been given stewardship of the world, we get to the Page of Cups. Now, the page is always going to be taking the responsibility for the things. And 4 is always going to be understanding, right? You learn in 3, you understand in 4. What do you understand? Well, the Moon card lets you know. This is about balancing of natures. If we look at this card, we can see 2 towers. Now, we have seen 2 towers repeated several times, and this one may not be labeled with the B and the J, but when we see the 2 tables, or the 2 towers, it is representing Boaz and Jachin. It is representing the light and the dark and the balance therein. If we look at the 2 mammals that are shown here, we see one who is turned away kind of from the moon, and one that is facing the moon directly. One who is affected by the lunar changes, and one that is just merely howling. This is the balance, right? One is a more animalistic nature, and one is a more tame nature. You can see the crawfish coming up out of the water as a symbol of trying to be on a higher level than you naturally are. You will have to return to the water. You are not meant to live on the land. But if you are balancing your life in the correct manner, then you can strive upward for the things that God really does want in your life. This is the time for practical creation. You have learned the eight laws of creation. You are in alignment with the eight laws of creation. So when you are manifesting, you are balanced. You are actually doing the manifestation that is going to most effectively bring the good things into your life. This is about reflection and meditation, once again, because those are key steps in understanding the divine nature. And that's going to bring us into the change that is necessary. There is always going to be change necessary in the steps. You are not perfectly aligned when you begin, and that is a guarantee. Once you start getting some information in, however, you can begin to change your life. And when you begin to change your life, you become the champion of the people. You come to the righteous defense of those around you. And this is amplified by the sun. If you are on the correct path, then you are the light bringer. You are the representative of humanity's progress. You are the beacon of the Eastern mind, right? The Western mind, or however it's the intuition and the intellect, the growth, the desire for better. All of those reside within the sun card. That is where the energy for growth and life really comes from. And at this point, you are changing your life to be of better service to the divine so that you can fulfill your point, your purpose. And while you are fulfilling your purpose, you are raising the bar for all of humanity at the same time. And that's going to bring us to the sixth card, which is, of course, overcoming. Now, the Queen is going to be earthly perfection. It's going to be success. It's going to be virtue, right? She is showing that she has overcome the worldly things. She has stepped into... Where is that at? Oh, I'm going to have to fix that. You are stepping into the responsibility that you are called for. And it is amplified by the Judgment card. The Judgment card is going to show you accounting of life, right? We see this as the end times. Now, there are symbologies here that are absolutely contained in the book of Revelation, right? This is an angel blowing the trumpet with the cross. But that is not necessarily the origins of the card, nor is it necessarily the things that are contained within the card, because you see the same family that we have been seeing, but you also see another family farther back. This is everyone rising at the same time, and they are all joyous. That is because we learn that the earth is merely a ground for learning things. This is where we are to practice the earthly perfection so that we can strive for the perfection of the divine. This is us accounting for how we have spent our life. This is the knowledge that you are going to end. And then that brings us, finally, over here. But there is an important point that we have to talk about before we get to the world. At this point, if you go do the source material, which is linked down below for the illustrated guide to the tarot, you will notice that in the major arcana, the Fool is placed between 20 and 21. That is because the Fool is the seeker, the Fool is you, and the Fool is separated from the rest of the major arcana. He is the part that takes place in all three. He is the eighth in every suit. In every step, he is the Fool who is you. You are trying to learn the things of the world. And it is separated because you on the earth can never achieve the fullness of the oneness. You can taste it, you can touch it, you can experience it through meditation and prayer and fasting. But you can never truly be part of the oneness as long as you are limited to the mortal plane. It is not until we are done here on the earth that we can see the oneness and the heavenly perfection. And apparently I put perfection on there twice, or three times. The world is the oneness and the completion and perfection as well. Both of these cards represent the same thing. It is the fulfillment of the steps. It is held separate in the major arcana so that you know it is separate from you. This part can only be achieved after, right, when you return. And so it is always a path that is going to be incomplete. It is the reason for the separation in the arcana, and it is the summation of all three paths, which is going to lead us into the final suit. The Path of Wands. This is the path that is really kind of a part of the other paths, but is really only available once you have reached at least the change points of the other paths, right? This is the reminders for you to stay on the correct path. This is the path of mastery, right? You have already been through the other paths, and this is kind of to remind you to stay on the paths. We start once again as the fool, realizing that we are unknowing, uninitiated. This is the origin of the mastery path. This is becoming aware and the seeker. We have already dealt with the Trinity, right? The body, the earth, or the body and the earth, the mind and the fire, and the spirit and the becoming. And so now we are trying to remember the mastery of these things. This is the fruitful path. This is the creation. This is the origin. This is where you choose who you truly are going to serve. We begin then in the two, where we make the choice. Are you going to serve the left-handed path or the right-handed path? Are you going to be looking forward for success, or are you going to be looking behind for failure? Are you going to be choosing the good or the bad? This is your time to choose the path. This is your time to decide exactly how you're going to go. You can use the powers that have come from the mastery for good or for bad. The choice is for you. There is indeed a good and a bad path, and it may not be as plainly marked as you would like. And so now comes the time to learn. Learning comes from cooperation, right? You very rarely are ever going to learn anything entirely upon your own self without any intervention whatsoever. You need someone else to assist you. So this is showing cooperation. It is the three staffs coming together into cooperation. This is commerce, because he is looking out upon ships where he has invested his money. This is trying to learn how to use what you have learned in the correct manner. And then, once you can do that, you get a firmer foundation, right? This is about victory, love, and the domestic matters. We have laurels in 4 different places. We have one large laurel strung up before the 4 poles, but we have 3 more laurels being held up by the figures that are in the center here. They are balanced between the pillars. They are in front of the home. This is victory. This is love. This is domestic matters. This is to keep your focus where it needs to be, because when you are focusing on making sure that your life is arranged in the correct order, then it will be. But there comes a time for change, and there will always be a time for change. And at this point, you realize that all of the competition is really just a game. It is about competition, but it is realizing that it is an imitation of the real battles. This is not real hard battles. This is simply trying to get better than other people battles. And so the strife that affects everyone else, you realize is really just holding them back. It is, instead of true battles, false strife. At which point, you can create, by overcoming, triumph in your life. You receive the crown of hope. You become the hope for other people. You are the example that other people are looking for as to how they can do the things that they are called to do. This is you becoming the example for other people. This is the triumph and the crown of hope. It leads to a new realization. Now, this is you realizing that where you are is a good place to be. This is the defensive strength. This is you fortifying yourself. You are perfectly able to defend yourself, but you are using the wands to build a defensive fortress around yourself. You have already been injured, and you are wary. You are willing to face the challenges that are coming, but it's a little bit overbearing. It's a little bit too much. And so you take a minute to breathe. This is the realization that the path continues even when you think that it is ending. And being the example, you can overcome the challenges that shall come. You hold the high ground. You know where the moral authority lies. You are indeed walking into the path that you were supposed to be on. This is the step of completion. And while completion is a good thing, this is never a final thing. You have become able to overcome. You have taken the high ground. You are holding off all of the challengers. But, of course, you come to the realization that the path has not quite ended. The Eight of Wands is about activity and undertakings. If you look, you can see that the 8 wands are in motion. They have been cast through the air, much like arrows, and they are coming to the completion, but not yet there. This is the imminent end. This is soon to be completed, but not quite completed, in understanding that that is a truth. And because you realize that it is a truth, then you understand that you again face another choice. Right? Then this choice is to be defensive. This choice is to maintain the high ground, to fortify yourself, and to become the defensive strength. You can see illustrated here in the Nine of Clubs that he has taken, or the Nine of Wands, that he has taken these wands and built around him a defensive fortification. He is holding on to one of the wands so that he can defend himself. He has already been injured. But this is the defensive posture. This is the choice to not be the aggressor, but instead to be the defender of the faith. Which leads into the fact that you are going to have to work. Now, a lot of people are really wanting to not have to work in their life, and they think that manifestation is the route to that. Well, I'm here to disabuse you of that notion, because while the things of God are meant for you, and they are for your benefit, and they are meant to be yours in abundance, there is a path that you must take, and you must take it willingly. This is about diligence. This is about hard work, and this is about good faith. You can see these 9 staff or these 10 staves and say that that is too much of a burden for me, or you can take it upon yourself to learn that this is indeed the choice that you should make, to take up the heaviest burden that you possibly can, to strive to be the best that you can, and to walk into your future holding the burden in good faith. That is the lesson that you are to learn, and when you can start to learn that, then you get to progress to the Page of Wands. Now, the Page of Wands, much like all the rest of the pages, is specifically so that you can understand, right? So that you can take the knowledge that you have and that you can apply it in your life and prepare yourself to go forth into the world. This is you proclaiming where you stand. This is you giving to the world the strange tidings of this new path that you have found, and beginning to take the intelligent action that is necessary in order for you to fulfill your divine purpose on this planet. In order for you to be the best you that you can be, you have to understand and take intelligent action. And doing so will bring about change. The Knigget of Wands here is showing you that the defensive posture that he is in is the correct one, right? We have talked about forgoing aggression and not being the aggressor. Well, this guy is on patrol. He is vigilant. He is riding a horse that is ready to charge into battle, but there really isn't a battle there. He is not carrying a sword. He's carrying a wand, and the wand is meant to be the intelligence. It is supposed to be you using it in rightful defense of other people, the just defense. He's on patrol. You can see he is not in a battle zone. He's not surrounded by troops, but instead he is out in the wilderness, and you can see off in the distance the pyramids, which are meant to symbolize the mortal plane on the one hand and the intelligence on the other hand, because you are changing your life to become the light, to be the village in patrol, and to be the just defense for those who just simply do not know yet. And once you have done that, then you begin the journey of overcoming. Now, overcoming is not a singular step. It is a process that will take quite a bit of time, and the Queen signifies that. She is the personification of the divine feminine. So it is you being adjusted in your divine feminine. It is just love, not just love, but just love. Being correct in your love, not giving it away willy nilly to those who don't deserve it, even though everyone deserves it, but instead reserving yourself for the people who are meant to be part of your life. This is creative life. This is aligning yourself with creation and assimilating into yourself the intelligence and the intuition and the mercy that comes with the divine feminine. And then finally, we come to the divine masculine, which is also something that you have to balance within yourself. This is just rule, right? You had just love, and there is just rule, rulership in a just manner. This is also the destructive life. The feminine is the creative, the masculine is the destructive. The masculine is the insertion, the feminine is the receiving. Both parts of this have to be balanced within yourself before you can actually do the things that you are called to do. I believe that this is a story, right? I believe that I probably got some of the pieces wrong. This is a rather new story to me. I am just now exploring it, and I was so excited because I had keys that I had to come and unlock it. And this may evolve over time, but for now, it seems like a pretty good story to me. There are 8 sections here, right? We talked about 8. We had 2 sections in every one of the suits, and that brings us to the full completion of the harmonic. We got 8 different instances of a path to take, the things that we are supposed to take up, and each one of them is like a different note in the scale. We go E, G, B, D, right? And so what appears to be happening here is a path for enlightenment. Now, when these cards came out in the 1400s, it was not necessarily something that you wanted people to know you were doing. There's a really good chance that you would end up tied to a stake and caught on fire if you practiced anything that I talk about on these channels, right? Merely mentioning meditation in a lot of circles will immediately get you cast as a devil worshiper. Merely talking about manifestation will get a lot of people thinking that you serve Satan. Even though manifestation comes from God and we are told that we can do it in the Bible, still people have a negative connotation to things. I hope that my explanation here has been intelligent. Hopefully I have come through as someone with the highest desires, right? I am not doing this merely for me, although I am definitely getting benefit from it. But this is for us as humanity so that we can progress. I believe that what I am doing here is taking off some blinders, that a narrow focus that this thing can only do this thing is a little bit silly. To say that you fully understand, however, is also silly. So I'd say this with the caveat that I could be wrong. I try to always hold in reserve that I could be wrong, that there is some information that I am lacking, and that if it comes forward, I am more than willing to adjust. This is a work in progress. I am sure it will be changed as I learn more about this, but for now, I do believe that this is a very good primer on how to start your path to ascension. You can master the world. You can master yourself, and you can, mostly, master the divine. You can understand your mission here. You can fully embrace the hardship. You can grab the hardest thing that you can do and carry that bundle like he did them wands right across the field. The goal of life is the experience. The whole reason we are here, in my estimation, is so that we can experience all of the hardships and all of the triumphs, so that we can become the best that we possibly can be, because God wants you to be the best that you can be. He wants the best for you. He wants you to have all of the nice things, as long as that's not your God. As long as you are properly motivated, He wants you to succeed. I believe that this is one of the tools that He has used for the last 400 years to help people to understand. And I say 400, I think it's even longer than that, right? It's like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, so like We're like 6 years, 600, 700 years now. Hopefully, I brought a little bit of enlightenment, not too much confusion to a series of somewhat complicated topics. I am not here to try to misguide anybody. I am here to try to get you to enlightenment. I'm there, right? I'm still on the path because the path never ends. I am in this last deck, though. I have, for the large part, done the things of the other ones. I don't talk out of my yang yang, right? When I'm talking about things, that is things that I have actually done, actually practiced, or have actually seen. I don't try and talk about what other people tell me about things. I talk about things that I believe, the things that I have done in my life. I have taken these steps. I have affected my life and those around me. I have taken responsibility for my greater purpose. I am walking fully into the responsibility for myself and those around me. I want to raise as many people as I possibly can. And I think this is one of the tools that is going to help do it. If you like what I'm doing here, let me know down below. Give me a like, share, and a sub. Throw me a comment if you agree or disagree. As long as you keep it respectful, I'll let it stay up. If you really like what I'm doing here, hit me with that super thanks. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pitt State. Peace.